Okay, so welcome guys. We are WattDepot single page application visualizer. We've been working together this semester to try to add a visualization system to WattDepot. My name is Kendall Doi. Christopher Fu. So in order to talk about this project, what we need to do is we need to give you a little bit of background on what we're working on. So for one thing, what is WattDepot? Okay, WattDepot is a data collector for energy data, currently developed here at UH and actually used on campus for a couple of projects. But the thing about WattDepot is it gathers the data, it has all of it, but what do you do with it? So we wanted to be able to expand on that functionality, kind of find a way to visualize it. There was a pre-existing project called WattDepot Apps, which used Java as a base to create visualizations on screen for people to interpret the data. The problem with that is it required Java to run. You needed to be able to build the system, run a jar, kind of run a local server, which wasn't very efficient. It was kind of something that needed a little bit of work. So what we did as a project is we tried to bring it into the modern age, the kind of fast-paced age, as a single-page application. That means we're going to be running off of a simple system. We wanted to be able to access it at any kind of time, as long as we could connect to a WattDepot server. So we went and we shifted from Java to JavaScript. We wanted to expand on the functionality already provided by that WattDepot app and give you more to work with. So we've created a user-friendly operation, a user-friendly interface, and we've made it so that we can easily adapt it for the future and make any kind of modifications. So rather than show you this kind of thing, through pictures and slideshows, we thought we'd go straight into a live demo, show you guys how the page works, show you it working in real time on screen right now.
So currently we have the WattDepot page open inside of Google Chrome, and I'm going to reload the page to show you the effects of what's going on. If you notice, there is a brief interlude that was saying that it was loading the page, and we automatically connect to the server located in the server address. The reason for this is that WattDepot SPA will be shipped with WattDepot server. It's assumed that it will generally be connecting to one server at a time. However, we do have the option where if you choose to change the server, you can then submit it, connect to a different server, and it will be remembered inside of server history. So any server that you connect to will automatically be added, and you can select it later. So getting to the meat of our program is that over here is we have the source and the attributes. So the first attribute up here is showing. That relates to whether or not you will see it when we visualize. I'll get back to that later. Over here we have a choose source. This is a drop-down bar. It has a list of all sources available on the connected server. So for someone who's new to the application or the server itself, you may not know what sources are available. So we have added this where all sources can be viewed here. However, for an experienced user, this may be a little bit cumbersome because you have to go find your source. So in this case, I can choose to type it, the start, and choose, so Elima would then show up, and the sources inside with the scroll bar will be filtered based upon what you type. Before I select a source, however, you'll notice that the data type is empty and we have no readings for the earliest sensor and latest sensor, and that's because we don't have a source yet selected. So when selecting a source, data type will be seeded, as well as the earliest and latest sensor data given as well. So the reason for this is that when selecting a time, it will be automatically defaulted to the current day, midnight, as well as the end time being current day just before tomorrow's midnight. And you don't always know when is available, so, or rather, it's not clear on what our earliest sensor data is, so you need to know a range, then this is available. And let's change the time. So currently we have it set at midnight of today, so we can change the time by clicking on the clock. We have a spin dial here, so it's currently 9:41, so we can go 6 o'clock. And today we can start from yesterday, so select on 29th. If you choose to, you can also edit the time directly, so you can set this as 30. Sorry. The 30, and this can be manipulated directly, so we can set it back one more day. The end time, I'll leave it as it is currently. So the other thing is that when working with it, you may want to just choose now, so that way it'll always be set to the current time and get everything from beginning to whenever you access the page again. So we can select that now. Selecting now will also black out the area. As you can see, the cursor is now, this is an unavailable attribute function. The interval is from 15 minutes up to a year. This sets the range of, this sets the polling time differences. So 15 minutes will get the data for 15-minute intervals. This button right here will choose to remove the source. So sometimes you may have a source, you might want to just remove it completely. But this one over here will then add a new source. When adding a new source, all attributes will be set to the previously set source. This is particularly useful if you've changed the time, because when comparing sources, you want to do usually the same time frame. In this case, the thing to notice is that you still need to change the source. Otherwise, you'll be having a bar that's just overlapped with each other. It doesn't help. So I'll choose a source, and getting back to the show attribute, both are checked off, so both will show when I choose to visualize. Let's now visualize. When I visualize, a drop-down box will show a progress of what's going on. That way it lets the user know that the application is pulling the server, and it's just going to take a bit more time. So this would be a data reading for Ilima and Lokilani from 2 days ago up to our current time. And let's go back to the top. By the way, this is also manipulatable. We can choose to zoom in on certain specific areas of the map.
All of the visualization elements were provided from Google Visualization, so we're using the API for easy access and easy manipulation.
Right. Okay. So if I go back to the top, this time I'm going to choose to disable Lokilani and revisualize. So in this case, there was 2 lines. Now we're only showing Ilima. Finally, if we choose to save this setting, we have available a profile saving, to which what we currently have set, we can save it. So I will save. And you'll notice right here that after I save it, it will automatically block it out because this is my current view. So to change it, let's add up one more source. Wikihana. I'll enable both sources just to show what's going on, and let's visualize. Okay. So over here, we now have 3 sources being visualized: Ilima, Lokilani, and Wikihana. And I will save this as such. Okay. So as a user, I can now have 2 different views saved, one with just Ilima, Lokilani, and the other with 3 sources. So I will go back to that and auto visualize. And this is our previous view. So for a single user, this is particularly useful because you may want to look at different sources and have different views saved and be able to access it at later times, especially for when they were doing analysis of the energy being used. You then have the source showing functionality. So instead of completely removing the source and having to re-add it later, you can just use to check it off as well as save profiles. You'll also notice right here that this is designed. The profile over here is designed more for a single user in mind because we're using cookies to implement this. But other people may want to see the data that's being displayed. So over here, we have this share URL. This is a permalink system that we've implemented so that whatever you're currently viewing, so in this case, this particular graph, we can then take this address, give it to someone else. They'll be able to put it in their browser and see the same view that you're seeing. So just to copy this, I will open up a new tab and paste it in. So it will automatically load the view, and we have the same view. So that wasn't particularly impressive considering I'm using the same browser. So what I'm going to do is going to go into Firefox, and I will paste that code into, or sorry, the address, and so that was was a switch from Chrome to currently now Firefox. And speaking of sharing,
Yes, speaking of sharing, all of our code and resources are available online and our course webpage, which would be WattDepot-spa.googlecode.com. So basically, once you click enter that, you will land on our homepage, which basically goes over a basic overview of what our system is, the picture of it, and some related sources on the bottom, and a brief overview of our features. If you need help with the system, we have a user wiki, which you can access by going to the wiki and clicking on user instructions. Here we have a detailed set of instructions detailing how to use the system, how to configure it, how to install it, and what are the requirements of the system. In addition, you can access this exact page by clicking on the question mark button on our page, and it'll take you right to that user instruction page. For the developers who may want to extend their system or maybe add new features, maybe you find a bug, you want to fix it, you can go to the developer's guide, which describes basically what we're using, the different technologies we're using, the plugins, and a brief overview of what is included in our system and which source files do what and how you should modify it. So finally, to actually use the system, if you want to get a local copy, we have our download. It's a simple zip file. You can follow instructions from the wiki into how to install it. It's a simple HTML page, so it's basically unzip it and it's ready to go. Or if you don't want to download it, you may actually use it by going to our source page and going to the source code. The nice thing about this simple HTML page is that you can go right to our index in the repository, click view raw, and it will load the page as it would if you did it normally, and it's had it installed. And finally, if you encounter any issues or if you have any suggestions for future improvement, you may add a new issue on our issues page. This also contains various improvements and future directions for our project. So for example, we wanted to add a user-defined interval setting. So as in our issue as a issues page as a issue, and from this you can find out what else we plan to do, and you can help us shape the direction of our project.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, if not, thank you guys for your time. We hope you enjoyed our presentation.